Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Green, the ranking member of our Oversight and Investigations Subcommittee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I thank the witness for appearing today. My feelings are ambivalent on this topic of kidnapping for ransoms. It is my understanding that ISIL has received as much as $20 million. I also understand that this undercuts the goal of eliminating their access to funds if we don't take a strong position on these kidnappings. My feelings are ambivalent because I have a constituent who has a son who is being held captive. We're not sure who's holding her son captive. But I've visited with this mother and father, and I know that they want their son returned home safely. And while I understand that we can't pay ransoms, I have been with them, and while I don't feel their pain, I've seen the evidence of it. And you're in a tough position. But I want you to do all that you can, please. Please do all that you can to try to get these people who are being held hostage returned home safely. It's a balancing act. It is contrary to what our policy is, and I understand this. But we've got to do everything that we can to prevent these dastards, that's with a D, not a B, to prevent these dastards from performing the dastardly deeds that have been shown worldwide. If you could, please, sir, kindly give some indication as to the balancing act and what we're trying to do to make sure that this mother gets her son returned home safely.
Right. Congressman, I think you've put it beautifully, and I think it is a incredibly difficult issue. I share your feelings that you described. I can't imagine the pain that a family goes through in this situation. Our policy is one, as you note, that is intended to protect Americans by removing the incentive to take hostages in the first place and to not provide another source of funding to these horrific organizations that take hostages, commit other terrorist acts. We have seen evidence that it, in fact, does protect Americans as these terrorist organizations choose not to take Americans hostage because they know that they will not get paid ransom. It obviously does not work in every instance, as the situation you're citing identifies and reflects, but it protects our citizens over the long term and as a whole. In terms of getting our citizens back who are held hostage, I'm sure you're aware over the summer there was a rescue attempt made to try and free James Foley, who was being held hostage by ISIL. It unfortunately was not successful, but the fact that we will not pay ransoms or make other concessions to terrorists does not mean that we are leaving our citizens in the hands of these dastardly people. We try everything we possibly can ourselves and working with partners to free our hostages short of conceding to their demands for ransom payments or other concessions. It is, as you say, a emotionally fraught, difficult issue, but it's a policy that I think we need to employ ourselves, and frankly, we need to get our partners around the world to employ, because it's to the benefit of all of our citizens, ultimately.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.